Oh, whoops. Hang on. Whoops. Good morning, Leanne.
Good morning, Ros. How are
How are
you?
you?
Yeah, good.
I was stunned because just as we went to air, I'm hearing in the background, and I think it's stopped now.
I can hear it too before.
It was good morning, hello. No, it wasn't the good morning. It was, or was it? Hello, hello, good morning, hello. It was something like that.
Yeah, there's something on a repeat.
Yeah, I was on repeat. I've got a set of bathroom scales that actually talk to you, so that when you stand on them, oh God, it's got me fuzzled now. When you stand on them, they will say good morning and your weight is. It tells you what weight you are, which is very
Just so everybody can hear.
yeah, it's very good for those of us who are not able to see. Oh, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But when the stomach gets too far out, you can't standing up straight.
Yeah.
And I'm
My scales and I choose not to have a relationship. So.
Oh, look, they're stuck in the laundry, and either the dog was on it or the battery's going flat.
That's cute. I love it. Oh, that is hilarious.
Oh dear. So now I've got to sort of cool off, stop getting red. Hi, Marianne.
Hey, honey, how you going?
And we have Carly. Oh no, there's a question there. We'll get to that.
Hey, gorgeous.
And
yeah.
yes. One of the things that I so plain forgot to do was cross post. I have no idea. It's just going to be mytimetv.live at the moment. So for those who are here and watching live, I'll just have to do a couple of reminders, won't I?
I'll just jump back while we're talking. I can jump into mine. I've got Facebook open, so I can jump in and see if I can cross post it.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be really good. And I'm just going to go in and share it myself to my own, just do it to the public.
Yeah.
For some silly reason, I just noticed a message from a daughter. So, things like that we need to really actually do before we go live, which is fine. I had plenty of time, but my head's in a different space this morning. It's what you get from being up at, I don't know, 4 o'clock this morning. I haven't been back to bed since then.
Oh, my goodness. I thought I was bad lately. That's weird.
Well, sometimes, it's just that, I don't know, what's the word for it? You just have some of those nights occasionally that you got to stay up there. It's just had a coffee. I was doing stuff in front of the screen again, of course, because there's not much else that you can do that's really quiet. And besides, it's where I live anyway.
You just need one of those sofa recliner beds that you can sit at your computer.
Comfortable. Well, they can be. I haven't got one of those. You have, haven't you? No. You've got something that reclines.
Oh, we've got reclining chairs, like the theatre type style chairs, what they call theatre style today, these days. So I quite often sit there with a laptop on my leg with my feet up, the headrest, holding my head up until all hours of the morning.
Well, there's two different massage chairs. One's here at Port Emic, the other one's back at Menengi, but one, they're both old. One is my size, the other one really isn't. So it's interesting trying to sit in something that's not actually made for you, that's not actually your size.
Yeah.
So it has, sorry, there's a truck going past. I think it's going to be a busy road, busy street this morning. I just noticed this one. I'm just going to flip through those who have popped in that are, making the comments. Hi to you, Julie. What can you see from my future? Sorry, I thought you said, can you see my future? I thought nobody can. I just saw that and thought, that's interesting. No, it was the way I read it. So obviously it's telling me I'm a little bit tired.
Just slightly.
Here we've got Taylor. Hi, Taylor. And Jenny. I'll just go through those that are here because so far there's not a huge number yet. Natasha, so I can do this pretty easy, can't I? And whoops, that didn't go off. We've got Sean Chan. How do you pronounce that? Sian? Nice name.
Okay. It is, isn't it?
And Marilyn, I don't think we've said hello there yet. And Leonie, oh, that slipped, didn't
it? I can't actually see what you're doing, but
no, you can't. Just as you go, you know how you just go to click the mouse and it's just moving just at the wrong time.
Yeah. I'm having that trouble too, but I think it's because I'm live and I'm in the back end of the broadcast.
Yeah.
Like with the cross post.
So you're seeing them though as I'm clicking on them? Like the scroll thing or not?
No, I can see the video. Obviously, it's got a couple of seconds, like a few seconds delay. So, yeah. But I'll be back there in a moment.
Because I've got nothing that I'm monitoring. I'm turning off even my Facebook just so that I don't get the distractions. Otherwise, I'll be too tempted. Yeah. And I don't really want that. And there's more coming in. So it's great to see everyone. Shani's another one. Hi, Shani. We've got Selena here. Do you know, it's almost, it's funny. It just takes me back to those days when I was a little tacker, which was a long time ago. Were you young enough, back far enough to watch Romper Room?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Squiggle.
Don't you remember? Rosalind was never a name that was called out, and I was not very happy. It just reminds me.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, so
beautiful.
Yeah. Even
we've got the cross posting done.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Good. So for those who are actually watching from the other pages that are posted up as being, you know, this live Tuesday's Intuitive Chat, do remember if you want to have your comments and questions seen, you need to actually be on the link that takes you to the mytimetv.live, which should be in the description, whether your description shows up at the top, the side, or below. You'll find it. It is. It mentions. Oh, it's not coming up here, and I've undone my. I went and got out of my Facebook, didn't I? So there you go. Now, what were we going to? You did mention something because we didn't have a great deal of time before we came live to talk about
the morning. The morning's gone really fast. Well, I thought today a really good subject.
My dogs are going off now.
So they're on clockwork, aren't they?
Yeah, I can't hear it.
You can't work with children. You can't work with animals. That's what I say.
No, but it's one of those things I can't do anything about the dogs.
That's it. It's their home. Yeah, it's their home. And I just remembered I haven't put my phone on silent, so that was a good reminder, wasn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, good reminder.
Yeah.
I'll the same too.
That's it. So anyway, something that came to mind as I was sort of racing to get online with you this morning was, and it's something that I've been thinking a little bit about, and I think it's perfect with the energy movement and everything that's been going on this year, is I really feel that it's important for us to stop, become more still in a moment every now and then, and really think about who we are, because a lot of us in the last decade have, you know, we've got into the control, the conditioning and all that side of it. Yes, we might be mums, we might be husbands, partners, brothers, sisters, and stuff like that. That is the bigger picture. I want to take us back to the basics type of thing and go deep within and think about who we are as a person. What is our purpose? What are our passions in life? What is it that we strive for? Because this year is very much about focusing on us. So strip away all those layers of who you are and all these expectations, because life has been full of expectations. And I really think it's important to let go of those expectations this year and go with the flow. Surrender and realign yourself with the universe to attract what it is that you want in your life. So let's take it, let's strip back those layers and all those different levels of who we are and the expectations, and go within, because it's really important to give yourself permission to connect with you, not everything we try to balance. So it's really finding what you're passionate about and aligning yourself in that energy. When we do that, everything else around us, I believe, will fall into place. So family, friends and everything else, work situations and that will just happen in the way they are meant to. Okay? It's letting go of the control.
Yeah, it does.
That's probably the biggest picture of it all.
Well, getting in our own way as well too is one of the best. So
so maybe if I can encourage people in the comments to comment who you are, who you truly are, because I'd love to know what comes to mind first of all. Okay, that very first thought that steps in your head of when I ask you that question, who are you? Okay, I'd love to see your answers. All right.
I'm just sending that through. Oh, I think that goes public, doesn't it, when I even type a comment in it?
It should. The first word you have popped into your head, who are you? I love it. Yeah, it says it's my time.
On TV.
It does. Okay, we've got some coming through. Failure.
A couple.
Okay.
It's Katie from Scotland, UK. Hi, Katie.
Yeah. And we've got Marilyn has put a word there, failure. Honey, that is now. Marion, if you don't mind, let's break that down, honey. Failure is an action. It's not who you are. Okay, that is a result of something that may happen, and that is your interpretation of who you are. So I want you to strip away all the emotions, the feelings, and everything else, and go even deeper, because what you're doing is you're touching base on that surface level, and that's how you perceive yourself to be. I want you to take it deeper. Go within. Go past all those emotions and those feelings. All right.
And we've got Raywin who is saying, I'm sure anymore. I think, do you think I'm not sure anymore?
Yeah.
You're sure anymore? You're not sure anymore.
Yeah. And yeah. And that's fine, Raywin. It's okay not to know who you are, but that just means it's really important for you to give some time to you and focus on you now to discover who you are. Through relationships and everything else that we go through in life, we kind of lose ourselves. How many of you can say that are in a relationship that you are the person that you walked into in that relationship at the beginning? Because a lot of times, and this is going back to the way I see it, Ros, as in the past, in the last few decades, we have had to adapt ourselves to fit in around everybody else, where we lose our true identity. So, Raywin, for yourself, I would say you've lost your true identity because life has got in the way. All those expectations have got in the way. Okay?
In each and every one of those moments, so that's who you are, because that's what the
in that moment
environment reflects. Now, here we've got Katie who's mentioning that I'm a person who's been told that I have a gift. I mean, we all do. And it's wonderful to have that recognised. And this is where, for Carly, a mother, that's those situations I feel that every mother goes through, is that sense of identity does get mishmashed in family, kids, husband or partner and all that sort of thing. So
and that's fine, because that's who you are at that moment. But eventually in our lives, when we get on the other end of it, like Ros and I have got older children that don't rely on us so much. For some of us, it can, our kids always rely on us one way or another. But sometimes it can be really hard to actually go from that, oh, my kids don't need me as much. Who am I? Because people can go through a real identity crisis at times like that. I've been very lucky. I've still got one at home and one that has moved away from home and getting on with her life in the way that she wants to. And I'm happy for her. But at the same time, it's still hard to disconnect yourself as that. I want to play that. I am that mother role sort of thing. So, and I think if when we are going through life, if we can consistently remember who we actually are, when we do get to the other end where our children step away, I think it might be easier for people to allow that flow rather than trying to control it. Like I said, for decades, we've had to have these structures, these old beliefs, and expectations is probably the biggest one. You know, Ros, you've probably seen it more because you're a fraction older than I am. I'm going only a fraction. I don't see us being much different in age. It's only a number, but
exactly.
think about it. So when you think back to your parents and your grandparents, they were brought up with the expectations. You go to church, you get married, you do this, you do that sort of thing. So it was embedded in us, where this century, I really think it's more about realigning ourselves with the universe and going with the flow and allowing that stuff to happen.
Yeah, but it's also having an understanding, and I think part of that is pretty much because that can create a sense of directionlessness, because it is a go with the flow and what crops up, cope with, deal with, that type of thing. Whereas at least, and I've noticed it myself, you know, from the time that I first went into relationship, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, those steps, then you have I'll put the cart before the horse, but it's the marriage, family, and all the rest like that. By the time you've completed that purpose, the sense of identity has been buried, because you sort of have to, as a woman, mother, nurturer, that type of thing, or you feel the sense that you have to re-explore that, who you are. And with the changing times and generational, with what the kids have now, with none of them now are going to ever know that beauty of pure nature without a device in their hands, without electronics or technology. They just won't know it. It's not going to be possible. So it's a different kettle of fish to when I was a little kid. There was nothing like that except a phone on the wall. That was your technology, or a TV in the corner, because we were lucky enough to have a TV, and that was black and white. It was when they first started in Australia. So that does age me. But like you said, it's only a number. But it's that development of what has come to pass over time now, of the change. It is a complete change. It is completely technology focused. It's completely needing to have power of the nature that is electricity. You can't do anything without electricity now. Absolutely nothing. You can't do your banking. You can't do your anything inside without the lights on.
It's it, the washing, the dishes.
Housing designs have been made so we're relying on lights. You don't have the natural light for windows. They're designed differently, you know. So
that's
all of that has come to pass, that we're really on a energy reliant system, technology, and all that involves, and it's changing the way that we think, including how kids are brought up, you know. Having a weekend of looking after my little grandies, keeping an eye on the rest, and the different parenting style to what I picked up. We weren't taught. We're not taught how parents. My kids in general have had and I put this in, you know, the little air quotes, as far as the supposed expert knowledge from people that write about it. This is the best way to be a parent and all the rest. And I see the evidence of some of that reading and knowledge and the rest in how their parenting techniques are a lot different to what mine are, extremely different. And you sort of think, well, it's going to have to reflect that change of what I brought into my marriage, went through divorce, being who I am, going with the flow as I do now. It's having where are actually the boundaries to some degree of our own understanding? What is it that we're meant to do to actually find out who the inner person is? That's why I like doing these, you know, the tools of, and I have got it here. I'll just like the tools, those, you know, you know, that kind of thing. And
definitely.
they help, but they're not the be all and end all. what is the definitive? It's different for everybody.
Yeah. Can I ask you a personal question, Ros?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, when you were talking about, how you brought up your children and what you knew parenting to be and how you did it, how do you find it when you sit back and you watch your children then parent in these new age methods, so to speak?
One said, little person decided to take off and wouldn't stop when asked by Nana. So Nana had to yell at said little person, which isn't the usual way that said little person receives his information. It's certainly a different style. It's certainly something that I was really biting my teeth, and it was a safety thing. Next to a road, if it had kept going, he might have run. All of those things that are around that. It's different patterning. It's different induction into life, I suppose, that they're showing him as choices. It's no way is going to be perfect.
No.
We need to be guided for ourselves as parents as to what we feel is best for our children. Is it going to be ultimately? There'll still be situations where there'll be poor decisions made. I won't say wrong, but poor.
We've all done it in life.
Exactly. In my day, it was if the kids did anything wrong, I gave them a smack around the legs instantly.
Yeah.
I had that mini little hurt punishment, knowing what they did wrong. And that was my judgment of saying, this is wrong, you need to learn it, either for your safety or because it was bad behaviour. Not that they were bad, but it's bad behaviour. Whatever reasoning you put behind it. It was acceptable then. These days, you could get put in a jail for smacking your kids. Something like that. I don't know the rules. I'm not in the realm.
If your child goes to school these days and say, Dad or Mum did this to me, I think you end up with the police on your doorstep quite quickly. But for me as a child, my dad used to have my parents were in rifle shooting and it would have a strap. Now, as an adult, thinking back, honestly, I don't feel those smacks when we really pushed those boundaries hurt us. It hurt at the time. It hurt the pride and stung the bum or the bare legs or whatever. But still, it kind of made you stop and think, where I think children these days, with not all children, but some children, you can see that total loss of control in a sense. But, we all do what's right for us in that time. And I think it's really interesting from the point of view as a grandparent, where I'm not there yet, I'm not quite that old. But from a point of a grandparent, in the way of the way we brought up our children, to watching our children bring up their children, and then how their children are going to bring up theirs if we're lucky enough to be around to sort of see that. So that transformation, and I really do think in that transformation, we're going with time as well. So, it's part of that going with the flow and what works without the judgment and all that stuff that comes in and the expectations.
Yeah.
But I would say as a grandparent, I would think it's hard to sit back and not want to say something. That's what I think I will find the biggest. And, you got to let them go.
Yes.
And do their thing, but...
Yeah. It has been on odd occasions hard to, you do need to bite your lip, bite your tongue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I probably bit my lip yesterday. Not
that,
but it was it's just funny. So funny. Bringing it up, I quite like Raywyn's comment. So true. Hers have grown up. She make her laugh.
They grow up so quickly. I'm pleased we can make you laugh, honey. Don't worry, we laugh at ourselves quite often.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. And we've got Annette putting in.
She's getting in the plug.
Pretty cool. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I must say, on that subject, because we've made the Fringe Festival, we have decided to endorse the Adelaide and Koala Wildlife Rescue Hospital down at Plimpton, and Aunt and I went and we must have been there a couple hours yesterday, and they allowed us to witness animals having their treatment and explain things and stuff. That place is amazing, so I'm really honoured to be able to endorse them as a fundraiser for the Fringe, and we probably keep that going later in the year with other events as well.
I mean, a lot of that sort of thing is going to be ongoing.
Yeah, well,
take years to have that recovery being where it was, as far
but
as
at the
the
same time, I think the hardest part for them is like they're very overwhelmed by all the support and everything they're getting with the bushfires, but they are really 365 days a year. They don't stop for weekends or just because there's no devastation or disasters around. So, yeah, it's something that they need because they are non-profitable. So,
it's not non-profitable. It's non-profit.
That's it.
Not profitable, but
they need to make some profits to bring the people in to help.
Well, that's right. I mean, the thing is that the profits, that extra that they can make, will get into building further resources that they can continue to grow that thing. I just put that, the 15th, so Annette put a different date there. So,
okay. March. We start on the 15th of Feb.
Yeah. Which isn't that far away. So,
no.
you know, time does pass, and it's one of those things that in the moments that we're actually experiencing, you know, where there's the comments as far as the mother and not being sure, like Raywin was saying, confirming, not sure who she is at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, and there's Sian. Hopefully that's the way that you pronounce it.
Zan.
So that sounds like it's Aussie. It's the right spelling for us in the good old British English. American or Canadian English. I think theirs is M-O-M, isn't it? But anyway, it's all, you know, each time that we're going through whatever we're going through in our life, it does, we can get too busy in being busy and having that overflow of losing our identity, of losing our connection with self. And it really is taking that time to actually come back into that who we are. What are actually our values? What do we want to put out from ourselves as our persona? But to be able to do that, we need to actually first move within to nurture ourselves on that level so that we are connecting our spiritual side, our spirit, our soul, having that whole connection of who we are coming forward as our identity so that we can actually recognize it and live that in a more, well, it's not so much outward because we don't actually have to put it out there. We just need to live it for
being present.
Yeah,
being present in your life.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for people to realize we are going to have those moments where we sort of start to lose that direction a little bit. We, you know, you think about it from a child, we go to kindy and then we got this big step to school. So we become somebody a little bit different again into high school, into the workforce, marriage, whatever it is that we're going through. So there are going to be so many steps of life where we do need to step back and go, okay, let me just become in touch with myself again. You know, I recreate it seems the last 3-4 years in my work side of my life, I seem to recreate myself every 12 months. Come November, December, that focus is where spirit wants to take me for the next 12 months. And to be able just to surrender and go with that and trust in yourself, so is a pretty big thing. So, but I can just see a lot of people get so stuck in the old patterns, the old ways, the expectations. And with this new energy, people are starting to struggle more going, who am I? So I think it's really important, you know, that we give ourselves the time and most of all the permission to go deep within ourselves and look at who we are as a person in that moment and be present and, you know, look at your passions, what drives you, what serves you.
And I think, you know, as far as an answer on how, because I know that there's people that do ask, how do I do that? You know, what am I supposed to be doing to get to that point? Well, it's actually the time. It's making that time for you to be in that space, to do that self-searching, I suppose, really. There are definitely books that even when I was going through that stage, because life really is a cycle. It doesn't seem to matter. From what I've observed, it doesn't really seem to matter what era we are in, that cycle seems to be just so similar a pattern over our lifetimes. Probably why they do actually repeat until we have it more refined each lifetime and know who we are, what our essence is, what we're here for. But it's, there was I think it was Katie who mentioned she's been told that she's got a gift. Was it Katie?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah. Do that for my memory.
You did well on less sleep.
Yes, exactly. It's that process would still be the same. It's just being committed to yourself that you are going to make that time. And whether you call it meditation or just spending time with yourself, self-nurture, and there's things that you can do just to relax yourself. Go and get a massage. And when you're on that table having a massage, your thinking mind actually does let go.
So true. Unless you're like me and you like to talk while you're having a massage.
No, you see, that's where when I was doing massage, like giving as a massage therapist, if someone was actually starting to talk to me, said, look, you'd really get the best benefit if you just lay there silently and appreciate the feeling on your body. If you really want to talk, talk, but you'll get better, and that always shut up.
I have a few moments of being quiet. They go silent. I love it, Ros.
First, and one of the other things too, one of the things that when you're having any form of therapy, you start to actually relax into it. You do, and it doesn't matter whether you're on a table having a Reiki treatment or the massage, the body massage, or what was it, the horseman technique, anything. You'd start to relax into it because you're creating that little relationship with the therapist and you. You're starting to trust what they're doing, and the body starts to relax. And then you start feeling that urge, oh, God, I really need to fart. I can't fart. That's so bad. You can't do that. So that was another thing that I'd have to mention to them when they're on the table. I'd say, look, if you really feel that you need to pass wind or fart, just do it. It doesn't matter. You're here to relax. I'm treating you. It is a therapy. Let it go. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't care what it smells like. Just you let it go and be totally in the moment of being relaxed. And it's that sort of feeling, that sort of permission we need to be giving ourselves when we're looking into coming into our own heart space and connecting with our soul and our spiritual connection with whatever source you want to call it, whether it's prayer, whether it is, just sitting like a meditation guru, which I'm not. I can't get on the floor like that.
Practice. Me either. My knee doesn't bend that way.
Yeah.
But, and Katie, just going back to that, honey, I'm hoping today, I have had news late last night that my funnel is so close to being completed. So I'm hoping my online beginners course will go live today. So if you're wanting to strengthen yours, whether you're drawn to me or somebody else, follow that path where whatever's put in front of you, look at it. Just something I want to leave, also give you to think about. Something I wrote down today, a quote that I heard from the amazing Wayne Dyer that unfortunately isn't with us anymore, but one of his quotes was, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So putting things into practice. If you want change in your life, you've got to bring that change in. You've got to, and it goes back also to my thing that I'm focusing on a lot is the feel it, the think it, live it. So think what you want, feel what you want, like that energy is already there, and live it, because that's what you're going to bring in. So that just sort of really goes hand in hand with the amazing Wayne Dyer's comment there as well. So
which is really funny because it must still be out in the kitchen. I had one of his books that I just happened to pick up the other day.
Yeah,
that was to do with the Lao Tzu with the I Ching. So he did himself go through the I Ching. That guy, like it's ancient Chinese, he'd put together himself a set of affirmations that followed along the line of these I Ching sayings. He still is. I mean, his spiritual presence is still around somewhere. His writing was absolutely superb and connected, definitely channeled.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I love it. I'm just noticing Christina has put up a form of meditation there with a candle. Everybody works differently, and I think meditation is something that I'm not one to believe in saying you've got to do it this way, you've got to do that way in any of my teaching.
Right.
I like to help people work out what works for them. So thank you, Christina, for your suggestion. That's something people can certainly try if they want to.
Yeah.
But for me, I find a lot of people struggle just to still the mind to get into that practice of meditation. So even if you are somebody like that, maybe sit down and just take some nice deep breaths, center your energy, and just practice on the breath and shutting off the mind, because it really is a practice, and people get so disheartened with meditation and stuff. So if you're somebody with a busy mind, I would say find a way that you can do it, that you can just practice stilling your mind and build from then. You know, there's lots of guided meditations. I've got some on my website, there's some on YouTube and different stuff like that, where some people just need to focus on the voice to be able to do it. So it really is finding what works for you in that way. If it works for you, stick with it while it's working. But as your vibrations and your energy change, you're going to find that that might no longer resonate with you. You just got to find something else that does. And follow where you're drawn.
Exactly. And the other thing too that I've also noticed, as far as the Facebook realm, to me is just too confusing and too ever changing. But it's there's so much that's happening that seems to be take part in this challenge, that challenge, whatever challenge. You know, it's the challenge. And I sort of think, I mean, I have tried a few of them, not stuck. Yep. And it's a similar thing when you're sort of delving into the meditation process and the rest. Let yourself just go with it, as you'll find the right technique that works for you. But if it's not every day, so what? Who gives a shit? It's only for you. It's for your time. If you can't stick, if you're finding it so hard to stick with a specific schedule of 5 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever it is a day, set yourself. Let go of that feeling that you have to really stick to it. Just let it happen when it needs to. Even the times, be aware, you mentioned, Leanne, about the breath. Be aware those times where you just take a heavy sigh because you've just had enough of it and you're doing that or something similar. Realise, I need to take a bit of moment, a bit more than just the sigh moment, and just take another couple of breaths, sit in that space and be in that space and be fully in that space, fully in that space. And that can take a bit of practice. I suppose just something I do now, that it's that awareness. Keep at it until you feel that you can do that like I do. You just take a few breaths and you can get into that space pretty quick. And it doesn't have to be anything you think about. You're just there.
Yeah. That's it. See, for me, when with that, like you said about the sigh, that's usually my sign that, you know, I'm holding my breath. I'm not taking those deep breaths because either the situation around me is stressful or I'm getting fed up or whatever. So I think, you know, listening to your body, it's a perfect gauge in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the timing.
It really is.
Those moments. So I'm just noticing, as like when I put that one up, that the meditation idea there as an option, it's quite valid. Try it.
Definitely.
Little bit long on the comment there, but there's nothing wrong with that either. As I'm going back, you know how the comments sort of disappear from the older ones up the top of that list? Well, they've done it. They didn't used to, but they have now. So I don't know what the first ones are beyond Lily Hayes saying shared.
I can actually go back up. I can go up, but I can't.
Above that, but if you're entering the Facebook page, which I haven't got open.
Lily's the first one I can go back to. Then we've got Marilyn saying hello, and Shani just says, hey. You can see that? Yeah, that's as far as I can go back to.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. So anyway, because we do occasionally do some of the readings, I've noticed we are tending to get more on the chatting instead of the readings. So you mentioned that slightly. It might be a little bit more that way weighted.
Yeah.
You know, it might not always be readings on this. And I'm just thinking, well, I lost even more of that list.
Yeah, it just moved by one.
Oh, just the one, was it?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So there's one that we've got. That's the first question I can see now. Oh, dearie. I mean, it is. It does go back, have guidance on your future, and is there any messages from a dad? I mean, you'd have more readily available the messages from dad, because I just don't tap into that at the moment. I haven't practiced that for a while. I know I can do it, but I haven't practiced it. So I'm going to be a lazy sod and not do it.
I love it. I'll let you off with that one because you're tired.
Oh, whoops, I better leave it up. So,
all right. So, honey, I did feel Dad's energy step straight in as soon as Ros brought that comment up. Now, I do get the reference to he lets you know that he's around. I don't know if you've noticed the sun that is coming through the back window. I actually feel that you feel that when that light comes through, the energy with your father with that. So I do get the love and the pride that comes through with that. So that's the way he's got my attention, is by watching and feeling the warmth on my back. So I do feel that is a very loving warmth energy that comes with that as well. He shows me that it has been hard since his passing. He does show me that you talk to him at times and he listens. So I do get the reference to he talks back to you. So trust what you feel, you think, you see, you hear. What would the cards mean? Now, I don't know if I've got birthday cards or I've got playing cards or cards. He's just putting all the cards in front of me in that sense. So I'm probably not with birthday cards in that way, but I want to acknowledge the cards in that sense. All right. You smell Dad around you. You hear music that reminds you of Dad. You hear his voice at times. That is his soul with you. Okay. And like I said, there's a lot of pride and a lot of love that comes through. Just stop trying to control everything. Go with the flow is the reference when I asked him what's coming up for the future. All right. So I'll let Ros take over.
Yeah, well, I've just got to nut it out. Like, as I'm looking at some of these comments disappear, we only get half an hour of comments sitting in. I've just noticed the time.
That's interesting.
10:37 is the one I can see now, and it's coming up 11:12, which is almost the half hour. So, I think that might be the thing. And just a reminder for those, since we're past that half hour mark, if you're on any of the other cross-posted channels or pages, if it looks like we're not answering you in the comments, it's probably because you're on the wrong page. Go to the mytimetv.live link, and then you'll come to where you need to be commenting for me to be able to see it when it's within that half hour period, since we've lost half hour of them anyway, sort of. Look, I can probably go back later. I might have a bit of time to do that for some of those we missed, but we've already mentioned in quite a few of the past ones that we're not guaranteeing any readings will be done at all.
You won't get me go back. I've got too much to do.
Yeah, I might have a bit of thought. Look, it's the potluck. And
what was that?
It's my iPad. I did my phone. I didn't do my iPad.
Oh no! I thought the ouch. I didn't hear the thing. I just heard ouch.
It echoes in my ear. The sound of the notifications came through. Those things that you can't see, because I've got lots of hair. Sorry, I'm messing around.
I didn't hear it.
And as I was clicking on this one from Selena, I thought, well, for us to actually do the readings, it really is good to be as detailed as you can with the questions. Like, have some guidance, please. We actually just don't have time for that type of question. So I'm not going to be answering that one. And if you'd like to just say, look, I'd like a card, please, or as I've already shown, I've got those here that I probably could, but they take a lot of time because I actually need to read the book for that long. But I'm certainly open to doing private ones later.
Yeah. I did pick up on something with that, honey. I'm very drawn to the picture and it's really pretty. And I get the reference as I looked at your question that is about spreading your wings and taking off. Yep. This is your year to shine. Okay.
That's funny. Now I can't undo it because it's scrolled past. So, okay, there's Katie. who's got a general question as well. Is there anything that you're getting from that? I'm just hopefully.
I pick up your guides around you, honey. They're ready to be called on. So ask them to step in and ask them to give you direction, and also ask them what you want. Like, tell them what you want them to do. And I always say, call your guides in, tell them exactly what you want, give them permission to do it on your behalf, and make sure I always like to thank them, because that's something I might forget to go back and do. So I always give that gratitude in that moment. Okay.
And
your intuition's growing.
I felt the need to pull one of those. So while you were talking, I was quickly guided to actually pulling whatever was sitting on the top. And that one's the one, it's called UADJ. I'm not going to pronounce these gods' names, but the names of them. But it's actually the hieroglyph tile for vigor and health. So expect that coming up. But health-wise, everything's fine. So I thought I just had to do that. So whether it's something you were questioning in the background. Oh, yeah. Yes. Karina. Is the feeling lost to do with the fact that you're, because of that loss of identity factor, what we've already been talking about for the first half hour? I'm just getting that feeling there needs to be that time spent within self too, as far as getting your own guidance. You need to actually know who you are first. Actually touch on that first. What do you think?
And I totally agree with Ross, because that's where my mind went as soon as I read your question. But I want to say this in general, for anybody that starts to feel they're a little bit up in the air or a little bit lost, that is the time to step back and reconnect with yourself. What happens is that pathway we're on, we can get a little bit off track, and that's why we start to feel like lost. So it is really about just putting ourselves back in that alignment and moving forward with that. Okay. So take a nice deep breath, honey, ground yourself, feet on the ground, ground yourself, center your energy, just clear your head and look where you're pulled. Okay. It can be that easy when we get out of our own heads.
Yeah, that's right. It's stepping out the way, stepping back as the witness as well is another technique to use. Yep. And that's very similar. If you've lost yourself, Taylor, and, as far as with the specific, you want something about your relationship, but as far as feeling lost yourself, and answers that part of it too. So
yeah. In that, honey, I get the reference to, don't focus on the relationship yet. It needs to come back to you. I also feel that you put a lot of expectations, a lot of judgment, a lot of pressure on yourself because you are feeling lost. Now, that can be quite a common thing that a lot of us do, because when we lose that control or that direction, we get frustrated in ourselves. So we create this negative pattern. All right. So just take a step back out of that energy. Find your pathway, your alignment, and then the relationship will follow that.
Yeah. And what I'm getting with, and I'm going to solo that one rather than put it on the, which I suppose I could do it on the floor, on the table. See how that anchors usually do create a stability and anchoring point, something that's going to hold solid. But where my eye is actually going is to that there isn't the rope, the chain. It's looking loose. So that's probably why it's feeling that way for you. What you just need to do is reconnect that to your source, that connection that you're needing. So that's what that's telling me. So
yeah.
Okay. I can't do that. Yes, I'm tired. I'm starting to hum and sing. Now, where else can you see something that is? Oh, there, Jenny. That was way back.
Yeah, that's right. My heart goes out to you. Oh, I feel a loving energy that comes in with his energy, and I just get the gratitude for your friendships. I do feel that you brought a lot into his life. I get a lot of wisdom with him. Okay, so I get very fun loving as well, a bit cheeky at the same time. But he just needs you to know he's at peace. He wants you to find that peace in your life too. Okay, wishing you all the best.
I'm liking this. They're all for you.
Actually, just with Jenny, honey.
Past loved ones, aren't I being a lazy shit? Oh, a lazy god.
I love it. See, you just got to be ourselves, and that's what you get on this show. I love it. Just with Jenny, I felt like I needed to send you a big loving hug, honey. All right. So Jenna, that's all good.
Now we've got
Jenna, okay. Any messages from past loved ones? Oh, honey, I get there's about 4 over there for you. I feel that you've got a few on the other side. I get the reference to the signs are being put in front of you. So I'm actually being drawn to the butterfly or the wings. I see them as butterflies, but I get the reference to Spirit is letting you know that they are around. I do have a grandmother figure, and I feel like she was more like a bit of a mothering role in your life as well, in that sense. So it's more about knowing that you're not alone. All right. They are very much with you. So whether you've been feeling a little bit lonely lately, I just get the reference to you're not alone. Okay.
And
beautiful.
The card that's abundance. So you're not alone because fish school. So, I mean, when you said the 4 and I'd already pulled that, I thought, yeah, that's
perfect.
All that support. It really is. They're around you. So it's wonderful. And did we do one from Leanne? Because I can't remember already. Yes.
No, we haven't. A message from loved ones who have passed. All right. What would be the Italian connection around you, honey? I feel like I've got that European energy that is coming up, and I've got a gentleman that is talking with his hands. I don't know if he spoke a different language, but it's like he wants to express himself with his hands. I just get his energy is very much around you. Are you planning another child? Because I also feel like I want to put another child or the birth of a child coming around you as well. So Spirit is just drawing me, sorry, my some stupid programs tried to start on my thing. Something I haven't got running. But anyway, but I just get the reference to Spirit is very much around family. Family needs to pull together or reconnect at the moment. So I just look at how we can bring people together and celebrate. All right. It's important.
It's great. And said, celebrating. Hang on, I've got to put that back up.
Leave you out of it.
Congratulations to Alice.
Yay! Congratulations.
Celebrations. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I love it.
So thank you.
I love baby news. Yeah. I really do.
It is. It's wonderful. That cycle of life just will continue. And it's one of those things, before we answer that one, that I want to answer too as well. You know, as far as knowing who we are and getting into that more inner beingness, it's also as part of what our values are, of what we understand and believe for ourselves. There's so much that is being put out there with media that is fear-mongering, that is creating that it's an Armageddon coming because of climate change, because of water running out, because of fires that we've had, and because of floods that are everywhere. You know, there is floods happening elsewhere, and there's volcanoes erupting, all sorts of things that Mother Nature has happening that really does create within us that fear of. You know, there's only 2 things essentially in life. It really is love and fear. And what we focus on is where our energy is going to go. So put the focus on the love. Don't give the energy to the fear. And so that's where I'm feeling I really needed to share that. It's so much is happening as a response to fear because it's what we're being fed. Don't allow yourself to actually take that in. Put love to it. Give that mirror of love back to it. I just had to say that.
And I think that's perfect because I'm pretty sure my fear blog is up now, and it's about taking that fear and replacing it with love. To me, fear is a block in our life. Every time we introduce or allow that fear or give that fear that energy, that creates blocks. So if we can choose love over fear, you're going to find it brings balance.
And I think that's why, like, I didn't actually read all of this. I just saw the struggling, and you put this comment a couple of times, Dee, giving every part of you to everyone, that it's only you that can stop that and change your thoughts, change your perspective, to actually being that from fear to love.
Okay. And also, just what I'm drawn to with your comment, Dee, is, honey, you said you've been burnt regularly. Let's break the patterns, all right? Let's take a moment and look at what the lesson is in each and every one of those situations that you've been burnt in. Because if we're not learning the lessons, they're just going to keep coming back around and around. So when we can stop, look at the lesson, set our boundaries and protect our energy, you're going to break that pattern. Okay. And that is the thing. A lot of us have all had our challenges in the life, especially the last decade, especially even the last year or 18 months is more so. But those challenges, those things that come up are what, they are what has made us who we are today. But it's how we move forward from it. If we pull on the inner strength, because we all have it, it's just the doubt and the fears that get in the way. All right. So it's finding balance. It's wanting to create movement forward and knowing how to do it and aligning yourself. Or those that are getting stuck in it, a lot of times are wanting other people to fix their problems and stuff because they're not ready to take hold of that themselves. Okay.
It comes down really to, you do have the choice.
We do.
Whatever we do, it is our own choice ultimately in the end, regardless of what position, where we are in life, where we are in country even, as far as that goes. But it's also moving forward and accepting that choice. It is our responsibility to make that choice. If you don't make one, it's making a choice because you haven't made it.
That's it. But thinking about it, this all really realigns with how we started the show off, is knowing who you are as a person and what you want, what your passions are, what serves you. Because we get so far out of whack that we create all these negative whirlwinds in our life, and it just keeps throwing us off track. So when we come back to that within that center, that's where we're going to create balance.
Yeah.
You need to choose to give yourself permission to do that.
Exactly. And we've got to thank you too. So there you go.
You're welcome. I just need to add, believe me, Bros and I have been there. We've had our challenges. We've experienced it. Our lives are far from perfect, but we're heading in the right way. And, I'm happy this year to help give people the tools to make change. And I can only teach by my own experiences, but help you work out what works for you.
Yes. I'm just trying to decipher this one. I'm sort of thinking, Kylie's found what's on this page and asked you a question. What I'm saying, is that actually tagged correctly?
I think so, yeah.
Because I'm sort of looking at it thinking, this end, can I actually see that or not? Or, do I need to be more direct in describe how they do it?
I'm guessing Kylie's either on a different page or she's suggesting she jumps onto this page.
Yeah. I mean, I am aware it's coming up to being on the hour type of thing. So
Where's it gone?
Flip through, probably not doing much more in the way of the readings, but wind up. So thank you, Kylie, for that. So Kylie obviously made it to the right page.
Hey, Kylie.
Because I think that was the Kylie Stonebridge that was mentioned back there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, that last comment.
It is.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking notice and being here. And Jenny has said, thanks, ladies, much love.
You're welcome, honey.
There is so much in the list of what are questions that you're asking of us, which is great and fine. We love doing this show. I love doing live streaming. It doesn't, it's just something that I thoroughly enjoy, and being out there and answering questions like this, it was a new realm. And up to, it was only just interviewing people before. Well, it was really when I started working with you, meeting you, met you, Leanne, and got into really connecting myself back with what is essentially all of our gifts we do have.
We do. We seriously all have them.
Yeah, recognising and knowing yourself enough to follow what you do feel is the strong path, because the more enthusiasm and love of what you're doing, that is the strength that is created, because it is your path. It's what's part of what you agreed to be here for. That's just one of the guidances that I can give to every one of you in general. From my own experience, look, you might experience it differently, the way that you get onto your path or anything, but trust that inner self. When you're tapping into your own intuition and you find that you actually can read psychically using the different clairs, and you have that in your courses, Leanne, and I might one day when I do one, maybe.
So it's just, listen to it, maybe.
Well, look, it's all the pot. Like, I love teaching. I really actually do like helping people and teaching.
It's amazing.
I just haven't formalised a lot of it yet. Well, it'll happen if that's meant to be my path. I love doing this sort of thing, the live streaming. So anyone want to have questions answered about doing this sort of thing, I'm fine to help out with that. But it's really knowing yourself, like you first introduced and wanted to talk about today, Leanne. It really is. And following the who gets placed in front of you as being where you need to go for what lessons you're learning, whether it is formally through courses, whether it is through the experiences you're given that build your character, build your strength, get you through shit times. That's still part of what you're meant to be doing to be who you are in the next step, even if you don't know it beforehand. Do you really want to know all of it beforehand? We can't physically possibly know it all, even though we have that knowledge within us, because it's universal, it's the humanity, it's the source. Physically in this body, as humans, we can't. It's not possible. But we can certainly be open to each step that we need to take in what is our specific path. And that's where I should end that lesson. Gosh, there you go. Look, it's just what comes through. And that's partly I was trusting what I was speaking. I don't know what I was speaking. I'll have to watch the replay myself.
You were channeling it. So, and that's the thing. We all have a journey. We all have to learn. It's not going to be all positive, but it's how we move forward from those lessons, those mistakes and all that. So I really think this year, and I'm very much driven to, and this is something I've focused on for the last few years doing this work, is not judging people, because we are all different. What works for one might not work for another. It's their journey. They've had to experience that stuff to learn, to grow. Maybe even some of the stuff like we've been through. When I look back at the last 4 or 5 years of my life, it's been quite hectic and it's been some major struggles in it. But I believe I went through that because I'm going to have people drawn to me, and I already do, that have gone through something similar. And just to sit and resonate with that people and have that person feel that somebody gets them, they know what I'm talking about because they've experienced themselves, can be a major healing thing. And the other thing I wanted to say while Ros was saying what she was saying, honestly, when we start to look at our own fears and our own purpose and who we are, that can be a major shift for a lot of people, because in life we keep ourselves busy, we keep ourselves focused on other things because we don't want to deal with our own emotions, our own pain, grief, whatever it is that we're holding on to. So that can be a major hard step for people. So if you can make that step, can you imagine how much easier your life is going to get when you can move those fears and let go of the past and stuff like that?
And be present in the moment.
And that's really what it comes down to.
It's that awareness, knowing in yourself, be present in the moment.
Yeah.
There you go. So thank you for that, Leanne.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ros.
I like this, that deeply, yes, understand and agree. Look, there are times you might not actually fully understand at the moment, but the process is part of that. So
sometimes we don't always have to understand those, Ros. We might not need to know right then.
That's right. It will come at the right time. everything does happen in its perfect timing, which even now, as we're finishing off, thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for sharing it out, that we have been live now that we're closing off. You can still watch the replay. It's there in the mytimetv.live and stays there for as long as Facebook's around, I suppose, and the channel's there. Can public download them?
Pretty sure you can.
Oh, there you go. If you feel like it, go for it. It's that sort of connection to keep up with. Where you feel guided, it's that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to say, you can come back and listen to this stuff as much as you want to, because the messages that we speak today might resonate with you, but you're not getting it on that deeper level. So to listen over and over, something might trigger because you're ready to hear it.
Yeah. And there is the function of save the page to watch again later if you need to. If you can't remember where it is on mytimetv.live, save it and it's in your thingy wherever you find that, which I'm not sure. The other thing to find is somewhere you'll find in the description there is the links that mine and Leanne's, they're the Facebook pages I've put in there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So connect in there if you feel led to, and questions that are asked pretty much here. I might have time to go back. I know Leanne won't. Any other private messages and the rest, it's definitely business hours.
Yeah. I know, so I've got missed calls from Sunday afternoon at like 9:38 in the PM sort of thing, and it's Sunday.
We do have private time for ourselves.
That's it.
Well.
Yeah.
There needs to be those boundaries, and I'm saying that here because there needs to be those boundaries. Internationally, that makes it a little bit trickier because we are global. But hey, it's still, if it's there in the messenger, don't expect it back in your time. Maybe if you're the other side of the world, it could be that it's our time. Whatever.
I had that last week. I was doing stuff with Philadelphia, so when I'm doing stuff at 2 a.m. on their stuff and I'm replying to them, it's like early hours of the morning. No, sorry, they've just gone to bed over there.
It is that shift of mindset when it's time zones. But it is lovely to see those who are from Canada, from America, from even the UK. So it's wonderful to see the global connection.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And can I just add, sorry, Ros, to interrupt, if you're new to this page, My Time TV, don't forget to hit the like button because we are here. I think there's a little 3-button thing or a bell or something that you can actually get notifications when we go live in that way. So, and there was something else I was going to say. Oh, the other thing was, if you've got subjects that you would like us to talk about, put that in the comments as well, because we're always open to any sort of discussion. If we can help you guys with the tools or share our knowledge, we love to. It doesn't always have to be about the readings.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you there.
Yeah, that I just noticed that and had the watch party in Weber and
lovely.
Hey, look, it is what it is. We do share out as much as we can and be the best person that you can be, which is the one that I use as far as my morning show at 8 o'clock. It's that's actually what we're here for. It is to be the best person that we can be. That is our responsibility.
And 2020 is the year to discover that.
Yes. Good one. Thanks, Leanne, for being here again.
Welcome, Ros. Thank you for having me.
Always. And we'll see you next week at the 10:30 Australian Central Daylight Time for our next Tuesday's Intuitive Chat. I don't number them. We just be here. So thank you, everyone.
Love to everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye.